So, welcome to our reset session that is planning for the second quarter of the year. First of all, reviewing the first quarter of the year, which was January, February, and March, and then planning for the second quarter, which is April, May, and June. So, we're just going to go straight into our conversation. Going to start with a few questions. Now, in fact, this session is going to be very, very interactive. So I'll advise anybody who is following to get a notebook and a pen because it's going to be more of writing than talking. So you will not just be listening, but you're going to be following through. You're going to be writing as well. So that is actually going to be very, very profitable for you. It's not going to be time wasted. So I have my own notebook and pen, and I advise that you get your own notebook and pen so that you can really do the task that you're supposed to do. Is going to be a very hands-on session. Okay. So I'll just start with these few questions. Raise your hand if you feel like you worked so hard in the first 3 months of the year, but you cannot see any results, or you have a lot of life responsibilities that are delaying your goals so much, or you want more from life but you feel kind of stuck. If you can relate to this, just raise your hand so that I know that we're on the same page. Right. So the first thing I want to let you know is that you are not lazy, because the first thing when people get to a point where they are trying to get a lot of stuff done and it feels like it is not going well, they start feeling like, oh my God, is it that I'm just a lazy person, I cannot get things done. But the truth is that it's not about being lazy. The problem is that you are overwhelmed. Overwhelmed meaning that you just have a lot of things in your mind that you want to get done, so many things that you want to do, but you just cannot get yourself to do them because there are a lot of things going on in your mind and you have not been able to prioritize those different tasks that you want to be able to do. And that's what's keeping you almost like stuck in the same position because you cannot progress, given that you have not gotten clarity. You're not even clear about what it is you really want to do. So it's so important, first of all, to establish that this is kind of like the main problem. There's no clarity. So it means that there are a lot of things that we want to do, but you're not really clear about them. There's no clarity. There's no structure, because without structure, first of all, that's like one main thing that even though you know what you're supposed to do, but if you don't have any structure, you have not built any structure around it, then it is going to be a little bit complicated for you to actually progress because you're not clear, or even if you get clear, there's no structure, and then you have too many things. So there are too many things that are going on in your mind. There are too many things that you have, just a lot of things that you're trying to handle. And so when you have those too many things in mind, it now kind of keeps you stuck because you don't know what to start with. And it becomes like a major problem for you. So before moving forward, I would like to ask, what are you looking forward to gaining from this session? What do you want to What do you want to achieve after this session, or what are you looking at getting from attending this session? Please just drop it in the chat box. I'll be waiting for you to drop it in the chat box while I go ahead. So, what are you looking forward to gaining from this session? You can just make use of the chat box. I'll be waiting for you. So now my objective for you for this session is that it's not just for you to listen, okay, I've gotten all of this information, but it's mainly for you to take action. It's mainly for you to gain clarity, take action, and actually live with some structure that you can put in your goals or your objectives moving forward, so that it's going to actually be more beneficial for you. So it's so important that you pay attention, that you write when you have to write. That's why it is a workshop, because I want that we should be able to do this together and at the same time, so that you actually are more compelled to do it than when you leave here and then you go on your own. It's almost like you're not going to get anything done. So the first thing I want us to do is the wheel of life exercise. So the wheel of life exercise is basically just an exercise whereby you read different, so you read different um thank you, Christabel, having to get the undone things done, even if it's not complete, if it's not completely. All right. So the wheel of life exercise is going to be for you to rate the different aspects of your life. So as on a score of 1 to 10, you're going to rate your health. We have money and finances, we have family and friends, we have physical environment, we have love or romantic relationship, we have fun and leisure, we have personal growth, and we have career or business. So I'm just going to give each of us one, let's say 2 minutes to take out time to do this wheel of life exercise. So you're going to rate all of these sections on 10. How do you feel? So one being the lowest, meaning that you feel like it is not even, so you have not even been able to progress in this particular aspect. And 10 being you've done so well and it is going so great so far. So from 1 to 10, give a score to each of these aspects of your life. We have 2 minutes to do that. I am doing it, you're doing it as well. That's why it's a workshop. We're going to be doing these things together. So you can start with anyone and you just reflect on it. Just do like a brief reflection. How is it so far? And what score can I give? Please, are we together? Are you guys actively carrying out the exercise? If you're doing so, please just drop something in the chat box so that I know that we are together and you're doing it.
Uh,
Yes.
I have an issue with the physical environment. What does it mean?
It's just like your space. So the space around you, probably where you live, your environment. So how is it? How does it look?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, is it clear?
Mm-hmm, it's okay. Thank you.
All right, we have a few seconds to go and then we are going to move on to the next thing. If you join when we're already carrying out the exercise, I just said that we're going to do this wheel of life exercise whereby you're going to rate all the different aspects of your life on a scale of 1 to 10. So you're going to give it a score based on how good it's going, or if it's not going so well, you're going to give yourself a number between 1 and 10. I think we have had 2 minutes and we're going to move on to the next thing. So now this is where we're going to go like really, really deep down to reflect on the different things that we have been doing in the first quarter of the year. We're going to reflect, and these questions are going to help you to reflect better. So I'm going to equally still give for these our different reflection questions. We're going to have 5 minutes. So, like I said, you need a notebook and you need a pen because I want that you should actively carry out this exercise now during this workshop. So, this is time that you're setting aside to really take your time and do this. So, please let's actually follow up with what it is we are doing. We're going to use these different reflection questions to reflect on the different aspects of our lives. So, this is like for your personal life, you're reflecting on what went well in the last 90 days? What did not? What drained your energy? And what gave you energy? So you're going to reflect on these different aspects. So I'm going to give us again 5 minutes for you to really do like a deep dive into your brain and to do like a throwback to the last 3 months. How did it go? And just everything along those lines. So these questions are going to guide you to do that reflection. Is you guys are actively following up, can you just drop a yes in the chat box so I know that you're actively following up? If you're just joining us, please just pick up on where we are. We are doing a reflection on the last 90 days of the year. So we're taking our time to actually reflect using these different questions. So you're just going to use the questions and do a reflection. We have out of our 5 minutes, we have 4 minutes left. Hmm. This particular reflection is broken down into personal life and then either work, career, business, school, or finances. So this first part is for personal life, and then the next part is going to be for either work, school, or business, and your finances. So I know that the time we feel a little bit small, and that's why I would just encourage everybody that even after we are done with our session, it's going to be good that you take some time. So immediately after this, you can just take some more time to finish up with whatever sections you did not get to finish up with so that you do like a complete deep dive into the different things. So if our time is too short, by all means, after this, take out some time again and continue and do like a deep dive into the different questions and give your answers. Okay, guys, we're going to continue. We're going to move on to the next section, which is going to be reflection on either work or your business or your school and your finances. So, using the same reflection questions, what went well in the last 90 days, what did not, what drained your energy, and what gave you energy. So, you're reflecting about it's either your work or you're running a business or you're going to school and your finances. Since I hope we are actually doing the exercise. I hope we're really doing that because the aim of this workshop is so that you actually take the dedicated time and do the deep dive into how things have been and then better structure the next 3 months moving forward. So please, it's so important that you actually get into like a reflective mode and you're reflecting about how these different things have been and eventually how you want them to be better. Is we're going to move on to the next set of questions. Like I said, if the time is not enough, you're going to have time immediately after this, you just go back again and do like a more in-depth reflection on these different questions. But we're having like 5 minutes for each section to reflect on the different questions and give yourself honest answer so that you can be able to do better moving forward. So the next set of questions are in the first 3 months of the year, what are the habits that helped you? What are the habits that are holding you back? When did you feel your best and when did you feel most frustrated? So I think that you understand really what we're talking about. What are the habits that helped you? So it means that what are the things that you were really doing that got you to really move in a positive direction? And then what are the ones that the habits that kept you going behind and not really moving forward with regards to your goals. I'm just going to give you a random example that can guide your thought process. So what are the habits that help you? You can talk about personally, but from a personal point of view, one of the habits that helped me was planning daily. Now I'll be honest, some days I forgot to plan, but mainly I saw the change that really, I saw the change that it brought throughout the first 3 months of the year. And I feel like if I was not planning on a daily basis and following through with these plans, I would have not been able to hit the targets that I did if I did not do that. Now, what are the habits that were holding you back? In my case, I'll say, for instance, yeah, like I said, on some occasions I forgot to plan and it was holding me back on those particular days because I did not get the opportunity to do what I really had to do because I did not plan for it. Another habit that was holding me back, I'll say it is going to be really um like following through with my timetable for my weekly exercise. I was inconsistent in that particular aspect. So I think it's one of the things that held me back with regards to fully achieving the objectives that I set for the first quarter. To reflect, you can do your reflection in that direction about habits that helped you, the habits that are holding you back, and when did you feel your best, and equally when you felt most frustrated. Welcome to everybody that is joining us. We are currently doing our reflection session. So wherever you join, you're going to have access to the slides after this. Wherever you join, just pick up from there and join us in the reflection. So we're reflecting on the last 3 months of the year, and then we're going to be planning for the next 3 months. So just read the reflection questions and then get a notebook and a pen and follow through. So we're moving forward to the next set of reflection questions. And after this, now we are going to get into setting our intentions and our objectives for the second quarter of the year. Please, as we are going forward, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop it in our chat box. Just drop in the questions, any worries, just drop in the chat box and I'm going to address that. So the next set of reflection questions are, what kind of person do you want to become in the next 3 months? What does your ideal day look like? And what habits would that version of you have? So this set of questions that you're going to be answering are actually going to really help you to kind of define the kind of identity that you want to have moving forward because you're talking about the kind of person that you want to become. So you're clearly setting out or you're clearly listing out the different things that you have to do so that you can be able to become that person. So you're defining, first of all, who is that person? What type of person I want to become? And then how does the person live their life? So approximately, how does their ideal day look? And then very, very important, what habits would that version of you have? Because whatever habits it is that you're going to be stating here, are the habits that you're going to be working on building in the second quarter of the year. So this is what you're going to be working on building in the second quarter of the year. So it's good to first of all reflect and really think about who that person that you want to become is, and then what are the type of habits that they actually have. What are the type of habits that they are actually, I mean, it's part of them. It naturally comes to them. So we have another 5 minutes for this particular reflection. Like I've said, please, if the time is not enough, immediately after this section, you just remain in the mood of reflection and then go over it so that it is complete. And it's going to help you to get more clarity. Sorry, I think I went to the next slide. These are the questions that we are currently reflecting on. What kind of person do you want to become the next 3 months? What does your ideal day look like? And what habits would that version of you have? We have 2 minutes left, and then we're going to go on to planning for the second quarter of the year. But like I said, it's so important to first of all do this
Like,
reflection. Yes.
please, I've not understood the second question. What does your ideal day look like?
So what it means basically is that the kind of person that you want to become on a random day, how does how does her day look like? Meaning that let me just let me just give like an actual example. So her day looks like she's waking up or she wakes up at 6 a.m. in the morning, does her morning prayer, plans for the day, she makes up her bed, she takes her breakfast, she's set to go to work, or she's set to go to school. Or immediately after that, her morning routine from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., she's working on her business or she's at her job site. She's actively tracking her customers, taking orders, doing all of those things. And then from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. She's back home, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. She takes she showers, gets her food, she rests for a bit from 5 to 6. From 7, she's probably back um analyzing how her day went. Okay, what did she get done? What did she not get done? Planning for the next day. She actually takes some time to read a book. So it's basically the person that you want to become. How does her ideal day look like? Meaning that the things that the ideal person I want to become, the things that she does, how does it fit into the ideal day? So how are your days going to look if you become that person that like if you become that ideal person that you want to become in the next 3 months? I don't know if it's clearer. What are the things that she's actively doing to be able to actually be that ideal version of herself? What is she doing in the course of the day? So it means that she's not lazing around. It means that when she wakes up in the morning, she does not scroll on TikTok for like 1 hour before she goes to take her shower. She does not go to work and is lazing around. She actually gets the work done. When she comes back at home, she does not just lazy around. So I don't know if you're getting the ideal, how your ideal day is going to be, given that you're working on becoming that version, the version that you really want to be of yourself. Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. Thank you.
All right. Hey guys, I think our time is up and we have to proceed. Please take our time immediately after the session to do like a deep dive again into all of it because we cannot give all of the time on the session. We have to go forward. So after this, please take out again probably 1 hour to go in depth all of these reflection questions because they're going to help you to do better for the second quarter of the year. Now we're going to talk about setting your we're going to talk about setting your 12-week goals, meaning the goals for the next 3 months. So basically, you call it 12 weeks. Like the first month is 4 weeks, second 4 weeks. So that's what I'm calling your 12-week goals. Now, you do not need so many goals because I think that that's one of the things that kind of slows us down because you set so many goals and it almost feels like you don't know how to even follow through with them because you don't know what to focus on because you're all over the place. You've set yourself so many goals and then you just get to a point where you're confused. You don't know what to work on because the goals are too many. But I believe that it is better set yourself a few goals and then you are actively working on them and to set so many and then it feels like you're all over the place because you don't know what to focus on because there are just so many things. So it's so important that you don't set too many goals. I will recommend for the next 90 days, give yourself maximum three main goals. So when I say three main goals, I mean, you know that under these particular goals, you have like subsections, we have like sub tasks that are going to be attached to the main goals. They don't set too many goals, set maximum three main goals that are going to focus for the next 90 days. Because when you have few goals that you're working on, you are more efficient than when you have so many goals and then it almost feels like you have no direction because all of those things are just pulling you in different directions and you don't know where to go. So for the next 12 weeks, set yourself maximum three main goals that you're going to really focus on. Because when there are few, you have more clarity on what exactly you're supposed to be doing. And now, I always say that I think your goals should not just be, oh, I want to become a more disciplined person in the next 3 months. That's very vague. Your goals have to be SMART, meaning that they're supposed to be specific, measurable, attainable, reachable, and time bound. It is so important that any goal that you set for yourself, you should be able to break it down into these different aspects, because when you don't break it down into these different aspects, it just becomes like it remains a wish, because there's no actionable, there are no action steps that are linked to the goal. That's why it's so important that whatever goal or objective you're setting for yourself, it should be smart. Now, the example that I took, that I should be being more disciplined is not a goal. Being more disciplined means that what are the action steps that are linked to that particular goal? It can look like you're waking up at 6 a.m. every day, you're planning your day every morning, you're reducing your phone time. So that is more like that's something you can track, because you can track the fact that, okay, have I actually been able to wake up at 6 a.m. this week? Was I able to plan every morning this week? Was I able to reduce my screen time this week? As opposed to, I want to be more disciplined. What actually are you tracking at the end of the week? What is that thing that you're saying that, okay, how was I more disciplined? You don't have any action steps that are linked to that goal that you can say that, okay, these are the things I'm going to track. So it's so important that whatever goal you have, you need to break it down into action steps, and those are the action steps that you're going to be focusing on now on a daily basis. Because when you tell yourself that, oh, I want to be more disciplined, you want to be more disciplined. And then now, what exactly does that more discipline mean? What does it mean when you say you want to be more disciplined? What exactly is the thing that you want to get done? So it's so important that whenever you set your goal, you actually break it down. It should be smart, measurable, achievable, reachable, and time bound. So it should be specific. What exactly is it that you're going to be doing? You're going to be waking up every day at 6 a.m. Okay, what is that thing that is going to help you to wake up every day at 6 a.m.? That you're going to probably set an alarm that's going to ring every day at 6 a.m. Because the most important thing about um tracking your goals, or the most important thing about really putting in the action, is that there's some structure around it, because sometimes we rely on our brains to do all of the work, and then it almost feels like your brain cannot remember everything that you say you want to do. That's why it's important to put structure around the different things I want to do. So waking up at 6 a.m. can be you setting an alarm that's going to ring every day at 6 a.m. And if you know that, okay, as somebody that when your alarm rings, you just stretch your hand and take it from your bedside, and then you just put it off. What you can do is, okay, set your alarm before you're going to bed. You put your phone maybe far off from your bed, meaning that to be able to stop your alarm, it forces you to get out of bed. At least that's one step. That's something that you can put in place that's going to help you to actually follow through with that waking up at 6 a.m. And it's something that you have to apply to every other thing that you're actually doing, to be able to put systems around it. Okay, you want to plan every day, you want to be able to plan every day. You put a reminder on your phone, like, okay, planning time, such that every time your phone is going to remind you, probably 15 minutes to time, at the time that this is the time for you to do this particular thing. So you're not relying on your brain to remind you that, oh, it's time to do this. You have put systems around the stuff that you're doing, so that it's going to help you. Or reducing phone time. There are apps now that I've seen that they so you can set like a particular time, maybe on your social media platforms, that in a day I'm not going to use past this amount of time. And then when that time actually reaches, it locks you out of your social media platform. So you cannot open your TikTok again, you cannot open your Instagram again. And now this is where being disciplined actually comes into play, because obviously it's your phone, so you can still decide to unlock it. But now that's where building a discipline habit comes in, given that, okay, this thing has locked me out, it means that really the time for the day is up, and I need to get on to do other things as opposed to continue scrolling, because you need to also be that person that is going to remind yourself that, do I really want this life that I want to build? Then let me take the actions that are actually important. So said that small steps create big progress. So it's not about only so it's not about just saying that, oh, I want to do this, but it's just small actions that you take on a daily basis that are actually going to help you to progress. So focus on doing the small things because it's the accumulation of those small things that are actually going to help you to do better. Please, if we are together, drop in the comment section clarity so that I know that you're actually following what I'm saying. Just drop in our chat box clarity so I know that we are together. And I have somebody in the chat box, in our chat, just drop clarity so that I know that you're following what I'm saying and I'm not talking to myself. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let us move forward. So now we're going to talk about another thing, which is tracking your progress. Because it's so important. It's good to maybe set what you want to do and all of that, but it's also really, really important to track your progress because how do you know that you're moving in the right direction if you don't track your progress? Because what you can do is at the end of every week, it's always good to do like a weekly review of your week so that so you're planning better for the next week. So you do a review of how this week went by and you're able to assess all the different things that you said you wanted to do. You're able to assess all of those things before you go into the next week. So it's so important that you track your progress. Different tasks that you said that you were going to carry out this week, did you actually do them? Did they move you in the right direction or did they not? And I believe that one thing that is so important as well for us to do is that, like, above everything that we do, I think that it's so important to, first of all, have a strong reason why you're doing what you're doing. Because if you don't have a strong reason why you're doing what it is you're doing, at the slightest inconvenience, you're going to drop it. So the slightest thing that comes to just shake you a bit, you're going to drop whatever objective that you set for yourself. That's why it's so important to really define, like, why am I really doing this thing? Let me just give you like a random example. Let's say there are two people, A and B, and the first person is doing a business and she's just doing it to pass time. Like she just wants something doing for the moment. And so she starts a business. And then the second person, she starts her business because she has to support her younger siblings or she has to support her parents and so she's doing this business knowing fully well that it is what she's going to, is the income that she's going to generate from this business that's going to probably help her to buy some medication for her parents, or it's going to help her to pay the fees for her younger one. So let me ask you, you just answer in our chat box when maybe difficulties come in the business. So things are not really going as they were supposed to be going. The first person, obviously, is going to, or who among these two people, between A and B, let me put it that way, between A and B, who among the two of them is going to stand the test of time, regardless of the fact that they are both having issues in with like their business? Is it the first person who is just doing the business to pass time, or is it the second person who is doing the business to be able to support her parents and support her younger ones? Who is the person that is going to really continue pushing through regardless of the fact that things are not going the way they're supposed to go? The second person, person B, exactly. Exactly, because she has a strong reason why she's doing the thing that she's doing. So it's true that difficulties are always going to come, but because this person has attached this strong reason as to why she's doing this thing, even when the difficulties come, she's going to find a way to say, okay, how can I really handle this situation so that I'm going to be able to continue doing things? That's why it's so important that you define why you are really doing what it is you're doing, such that when the tough times come, you remind yourself that I know that things are difficult, but do I really want to how am I going to handle this situation with my parents or my younger siblings? So that's why it's so important that you really know why you're doing what it is you're doing, such that it's going to be your driving force when things are complicated and they are not how you would have wanted them to be. We hope that we are really getting a lot from our session. If you're understanding or if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop it in our chat box. We have gone over a lot of things, and I'm going to give you access to our slides, obviously, so that you can still take out time and continue and do like a deep dive of the questions that you were not able to do now. There's a major problem. There's a major problem that I noticed is that yes, it's so nice. Most people are going to carry out the exercise, are going to feel very motivated today, and then they'll go back to their old habits by next week. That's the problem. Because you're feeling like, oh wow, let me do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then after a few days, you almost go back to the the life that you were living before, regardless of all of this exercise that you have carried out. It's a major problem. And why is it a problem? It is a problem because when you don't have, I'm so sorry, I'm having some network issues. That's why the call stopped. Call is breaking. However, we're running up already. So we're finishing up and then I'm going to call it a day. I was saying that a lot of people have this problem because they don't have systems that have been built into the things that they are really doing, and so they're not able to track their progress, they're not able to follow through with anything. Because after that, there's no system that has been put in place that helps them to follow through or helps them to, to move forward and to consistently carry out these things that they really want to carry out. And that is why, because of this problem, I noticed that a lot of people face, I came up with the Gold Digger Planner. So the Gold Digger Planner is not just a book, it's not just something that you write in. There's actually an actual system that's been put in place, first of all, to be able to help you to gain clarity about what it is you really want to do, because you take time to really reflect and to fill out all of these sections, what you really want to do. It helps you to get clear on your vision, your goals. It has different sections that, first of all, going to help you to break down your goals into action. So that's why I came up with the Goal Digger Planner. So that it's just that system that you can follow through, you can use on a daily basis, and it helps you to track your progress and to track the things that you really want to be able to do. There are people that have used a planner. I want to say that, like any other thing that you use, you can only see the results if you put it into practice. You can only see the results if you use it. It's almost just like buying maybe a jump rope and keeping it at home. You want to exercise, but you buy the rope and you keep it. If you don't use the rope, you're not going to see the exercise. You're not going to yield the results that you really want. And that's is the same thing with the planner. If you keep the planner at home and you don't write in it, you don't use it, obviously you're not going to see any change. It's not going to, it's not going to help you in any way. So, like anything, when you get it, it's the only way that you're going to see that is helping you is if you actually use it. We have reviews from people that have used the planner. We have reviews on people that have used the planner, they have been using the planner, and they can really testify to the fact that, okay, they have been putting in the system and it has actually been working for them. They have been getting the results. I've just put up some reviews on the screen so you can see people have really been getting results from using a planner, and you can only get results if you use it and if you follow through with it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop it in the chat box. So the offer that I have for you guys this evening, if you really want to be able to have a system that is already mapped out, that you don't have to stress to overthink about anything again, if you really want to have a system that is already mapped out for you, then you can get the planner, you can get the Goal Digger Planner, and you're going to use it this this quarter, this next 90 days, and you are going to use it and see whether it's actually going to help you to make progress. Now, you need to use it. And that's why when people get the planner, I always attach it to like an actual break, a session whereby you can watch and really see how it's felt, how you can use all of the sections. And the first thing I start by saying is that before any other thing, just go to your Google Calendar and put a reminder that reminds you to plan on a daily basis. Because without that reminder, sometimes you remember, sometimes you don't remember, but at least the reminder guarantees that you see it and you remember that this is the time that I'm supposed to use to plan for the next day. Because without it, it's almost going to be like you're not going today, you remember, tomorrow you don't remember. But when you set a reminder for you to remember to use it, then yes, you're going to use it. However, if you're somebody that you still feel like, okay, even after this, I think that I need a one-on-one session to be able to really go deep with regards to my own particular section, regards to my own particular situation. If you want to book a clarity call, you have the opportunity to book a clarity call with me. And if you want the power combo, so you have a clarity call, we're going to go on a clarity call, talk about your own particular situation and how you think that you can do things and how I think that you can structure things to be able to help me. And equally get the goal digger planner. So you're getting the combo, then you might as well get that as well. So all of these are just things that I've put into play such that they can help you to follow through after carrying out this deep dive of resetting and reflecting and then planning for the second quarter. What are the systems that are going to support you actually doing better? It's going to be the planner that you're going to use on a daily basis. And if you want to get more clarity from your particular situation, you can equally book a clarity call for us to talk about it. I think that that is all that I have for you guys this evening, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you as well. If you have any questions about anything, please, now is the time. Now is the time to ask questions before we call it a day. If you're interested in getting the planner or you're interested in booking a clarity call, then I'm going to send this link. I can might as well just drop the link in the chat box so that you can check it out after our session. But yes, please, right now I'm open to whatever questions you have before we end our session. Please, like I said, take out time after this call to go again and do like a deep reflection. The questions that you were not able to finish reflecting on. Immediately after the call, I'm going to send the slides to the group so you can follow through with it and then really helps you to get clear. I think I've sent the wrong link. Anyways, I'm going to send it back. It's going to help you to really get clear on what you want to get done. Please, guys, questions, no questions. Mm. Before we end for today,
Mm,
you're welcome.
okay, I wanted to ask that. What about the case where you know that you're supposed to do something, right? Like you actually planned that okay, I was going to create content today respect to my business, but then you have this particular program that like a schedule like it's fixed. You know that you must do this to this time, and then it extends, and almost every day it has to extend. What do you do about that? Like you know that you had to plan, you had to create content, but then because of your schedule, that is not that changes. Let me put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because of your schedule that changes, most of the time you find yourself not creating that content, you find yourself not doing what you wanted to do, and then along the way you get discouraged unconsciously. What can you say
Mm-hmm.
about that?
Okay. Thank you, first of all, for the question. And then what I
I'm
can see is
telling
that, yes, yes. Can you hear me?
I'm getting.
All right. So what I want to say is that, first of all, the good thing is that you have identify the problem, because when you don't identify a problem, it becomes, first of all, it's difficult to solve because you have not identified that that is the problem that you have. You have not identified that that's the problem that you have. So the first thing is, first of all, identify, okay, this is what happens. You have noticed that every time you plan to do a particular thing, but your actual schedule extends. So it means that you already
Mm-hmm.
know that your schedule is going to extend. So it's almost like there's no need to plan to do content in that particular time, knowing that your schedule is going to extend into the time that you've planned for to create the content. So it's almost like setting yourself up for, let me just say in quotes, it's almost like setting yourself up for failure, because you already know that even though I put this time as a time that I'm going to plan, the time I'm going to use to create content, I know that the thing that I'm doing before that is going to extend into that time. So it almost feels like every day you get into that same trap of you want to create your content, but you don't get to create it. And then it's because it has happened over a long period of time now that obviously is going to discourage you, because it's like it's the same thing that is happening all the time. So what I can say is that move the content, the content creation that you want to do, move it from that particular time frame. Because if you leave it in that particular time, like if you plan to do it only at that particular time, it's going to always fail. And we know that when you do something, when something happens over and over and over and over, it begins to play on you even. And that's why you get to a point where you feel like you're getting discouraged because you're not able to do it. What I can say is that instead, put it put that creating content in a time where you're sure that no matter what, you'll be able to get it done. Let me take an example. Sometimes I create content in the night, like late at night before I go to bed. Because I know that with everything that I'm doing during the day, if I say that I'm going to create content during the day, I'm lying to myself. Because I know that with everything that comes up, I have to follow up with this, I have to do this, I have to do that. If I put my content creation time in the afternoon, I know that a lot of things, that's on some days, I know a lot of things are going to go wrong. And then eventually I'm not going to be able to get it done. What I do is that I set myself, or I set my plan to create content at night when I know that no matter what, I can go a little bit into my sleep time and create this content before I go to bed, because I know that that's time that I'm sure that I can be able to get it done. I don't know if you get it. As opposed to setting a time where I know that no matter what, I'm not going to be able to get it done.
Okay,
Have you
thank
gotten?
you.
Is it clear?
Yes,
Is
I've
it clear
gotten it.
for you? Yes, I think that that's what
Yes.
you can do. Like
Mm-hmm.
readjust your schedule and put it on a time where you're sure that it can be really early in the morning, like waking up earlier to get it done, or sleeping a little later to get it done, just so that you know that okay, this is a time whereby I know that I can get this thing done. So let me program it at this time, as opposed to programming at the time where I know that a lot of things are going to come into play and I'll not be able to do it. All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for the
thank
question as
you.
well. Is there any other body that has something to say, a contribution or a question? If not, I think we can call it a day or an evening, so that you can either go ahead to continue your deep dive reflection and conclude with it, or you get on to whatever thing you have to do. Okay, guys, I think nobody has any other thing to say. So I'll just say thank you for being here, for taking out your time this evening to actually follow our session. And I pray that what we have discussed is going to help you in one way or another. And if you feel like you need extra assistance, you can get the planner that is going to be like your companion and helping you to follow through. And if you want to get some clarity, you can equally book a call